Welcome to episode number 5 of the J&J podcast. I am one of your hosts, John Madigan.
I'm your other host, Joe Vassallo.
We are the J&J podcast. You can catch us all over the place on Stitcher, on iTunes, on Podbean, and all over the place. And this is our 5th episode. And even though we're new, we've already gotten over 200 unique listeners on iTunes, and we could not be more happier about this fact. So thank you guys so much for tuning in every week and listening to us. And we're two best friends just telling stories, talking about life and current events and everything that's going on. Joe, how are you today?
I'm doing great. Who would have thought, John, that 200 people would listen in on what we have to say about life?
Yeah, who would have thought, 200 people talking about two idiot. We're not even teenagers anymore. We are both, you're 21, I'm 20. And who would have thought people actually would give a damn about what we say? I mean, that's insane. But Joe, how's your day going? How's your week been?
My week has been pretty good. I think it's the 5th week of school.
The 5th week, yeah, we kind of started this around the same time we started school, so that's a good way to keep track. But so, Joe, I have a story for you, and I purposely did not tell you this story because I wanted.
Wait, John, we have to do the lunch thing.
Oh, that's right. Okay, cool. Joe, what did you have for lunch today?
I had something called a slam burger. Have you ever heard of it, John?
I have not heard of a slam burger. What is a slam burger?
Neither have I. So not until today, at least. So it's a burger with hash browns, eggs, pepper sauce, and French fries.
Oh,
all in between a bun.
Oh my God! First of all, how many calories? And second of all, where do you get that?
First of all, John, I'm not telling you how many calories. Okay. Second of all, I got that at Denny's.
Get that at Denny's. My God, I think we have a Denny's on Staten Island. I've never actually been to a Denny's before anywhere. Are Denny's, like, I feel like I've heard so many bad things about Denny's. Like, Denny's is the place you end up at 3 o'clock in the morning. You never plan to go to Denny's. You just kind of go there. It just kind of happens. Is that true?
I mean, I don't know. We went there after church. It was me and my mom, my stepdad, and my brother. It was good. I liked it. I think it might have been the second time I went to a Denny's in my life. It's not a place that I frequent very often, but man, with a burger like that, I've got to say, I think I'm going to go more often. I think we both know the best diner on Staten Island, though.
Yeah, thank you.
Ronnie?
Any Mike Diner, please go to Mike's Diners, especially the one in Oakwood. Those are the best homemade food in all of New York. Best diners for sure. But Joe, is Denny's good? Is it any good? Like, is it a place I should at least go and try, or would you just stick to diners, like real diners?
I would recommend the Slam Burger. That's what I would have to say to you. Like, if you go, right, go for the Slam Burger. Personally, I like Mike's Diners burgers better, but
I mean, the Slam Burger kind of sounds like two drunk idiots just kind of got together and just slammed a bunch of things on a piece of paper and decided to sell it to customers. I mean, I'm
pretty sure it was called the Slam Burger. I think that's what it was. It was some unique name. It was like there's something with an ass. Slam Burger is the best one that I think it was. I mean, what it sounds like to me is it's like this is what you eat after you get drunk, after you get slammed, right? The headache and you're hungry, right? And you go for that. That's my interpretation of the name, at least. Personally, I would have called it a breakfast burger, right?
Now, KFC has a breakfast burger. Now, I don't know if they own the trademark to breakfast burgers. Maybe that's why they can't. But it's 2 hash browns as buns, and then in the middle you have 4 pieces of bacon, and then you have an egg in the middle of all of that. And that is KFC's breakfast burger. I've never actually had it, but it sounds like you can have a heart attack just by having it. I think
I'm having a heart attack just listening about it.
I mean, I kind of feel like Denny's is the place where, when you live in New York, you have like real diners that actually have like really good food. But if you live in like middle America, you don't really have that. And Denny's is kind of like the place to go for you.
I don't live on the island anymore, right? Like if I lived on the island, I would go to a diner, right? But since
Yeah.
I didn't go to it, like since I don't live on the island anymore, and we can't really go to diners anymore, I suppose that I would yeah, I guess that's my thing, right? Like I would go to Denny's if I had to choose someplace off the island.
Right. I mean, yeah, I agree. I mean, maybe when you come down, maybe me and you will go down and try it. Just for fun, my brother and I decided to try Domino's Pizza for the first time. It
My
was
gosh,
Lent.
John, how'd you survive?
Well, that's the thing. It was Ash Wednesday, the beginning of Lent, and we knew we couldn't eat meat. And just as a joke, we were like, I want to see how businesses like Domino's actually stay in business when you have markets like New York and Chicago. I don't understand it because the pizza just isn't good.
And I mean, I can answer that question for you.
Go ahead.
Right? When you live in a culture that's consistently trying to legalize weed and you have any sort of eating establishment that's open at 1 o'clock in the morning, it doesn't matter how bad it is, you're going to get customers.
There you go.
Right? And it's really disgusting, right? It's really sad that our country is so hopped up on weed, right? That businesses that are up late can make a killing because of that.
Yeah. I mean,
I'll never forget a mutual friend of ours, John, who I will remain nameless for legal purposes, called me up one day at like 12 in the morning, was like, Joe, I've got the munchies. What's open at this hour? I'm like, I don't know, right? Like, you shouldn't be calling me at this hour. I'm trying to sleep. I'm not a stoner, right? I don't get drunk. I don't get high like you. Like, just like, right? And this person was like, I think Domino's is open, right? And sure enough, Domino's was open. Right, and this person and their friends at the time had this pizza, and I'm just like, good for you. Please stop calling me at this hour.
It's ridiculous. What I had for lunch. In fact, this is the first episode I'm not doing in Staten Island. I'm actually in Brooklyn right now. Shout out to Brooklyn.
Hey, shout out to Brooklyn.
Hey, best slice of pizza you can get. We ordered Italian today, and I had a very good chicken parm sandwich. Was beyond excellent, and yeah, I mean nothing too exciting about that. But Joe, I do have a story I have really wanted to tell you, and I purposely did not say it yet because I wanted to have your reaction. I didn't want a fake reaction when I told it on the podcast. Right. I wanted a real reaction. I'm going to tell you what happened, and then we're going to go back in history so you can see how it happened, because I'm going to tell you and you're going to be like, how do you do this?
Right.
Joe, this past Thursday, I accidentally broke into someone's car.
Really?
Yes.
I guess I could see if I'm sorry, folks. Give me a second. I need to compose myself. Usually, we know the stories beforehand. Okay, so I guess I could see a few ways that could happen, but not many. I mean, you have to be a special kind of stupid.
And when I say I accidentally broke into a car. I mean, I was in the car, all four doors locked, sitting in somebody else's car.
So, like, if a person's car looks just like my own car, I guess I could see it, right? Like, I guess I could see it, right? But I'm gonna be honest with you, John. If my keys don't work after the second time, after the second try, I'm gonna probably look at the license plate to make sure. But why don't you enlighten me? How did this happen?
Let's go back in time. This past Thursday, I was getting out of class, and at my college. I'm not sure if you've ever taken a trip there, Joe, but there's like 20 different parking lots there. It's a big place, Yeah. I go to my parking lot, and I go up to a car that I believe is mine. It's the exact same car, and the license plate were the exact same colors, and it had the same first three letters, GNG. Now, I didn't really check the rest, but the first three letters were the same. It was the same make and model of the car, everything exactly the same. So I go up and I put my key in, because this car is older. It doesn't have the button you can just press and the door unlocks. You have to open up the car with the key. So I turn it open and it doesn't go. And this isn't the first time this has happened. This actually happens pretty often, where I try to turn it open, it just doesn't work, but never for this long. Now, I'm trying, and I go over to the other side of the car. I'm trying. It's not going. I'm hitting the car. Boom, boom, boom. I'm just trying. I'm pulling as hard as I can. This car door is not opening for anything. Now, Joe, if you remember one day me and you were taking a drive in my car and the back right door opened up, right?
I do remember that.
Now, we got it slammed shut, but that door has not opened since, but I kept that in mind. Well, so when I'm trying to get open in the car, it's very cold outside. I figured the locks just froze. I remember I had this problem. So I thought to myself, let me try and get in on the back right door. Guess what? This guy also had a problem with his back right door, and it opened up right there. Now,
see, John, wait a second. I got to stop you right here. I feel like you're yanking my chain. I really do.
I swear on a Bible. No jokes. I swear on a Bible. This happened. I get into the car. I shut the door and lock it. I am now sitting in somebody else's car. Now, I'm about to climb over to the front seat so I can start driving. But as I'm about to climb over, the very first thing I notice is inside the cup holder was a Starbucks cup. I don't drink coffee. But I started questioning myself. Oh, did I grab Starbucks recently? Because sometimes I get their hot chocolate. But then the dead giveaway was when I first got my car, the very first thing I did was I put in a really awesome stereo in the front. It changes colors and it has the blue.
Yeah. And I keep messing with every time I get in your car.
Yes. And it has the Bluetooth, the USB, the auxiliary, everything. And it sounds so good. And that's the very first thing I did when I first got my license, and I was really able to use my car. This person still had the old radio in, so then I quickly realized I was inside somebody's car, and I just bolted out of there. I was like, I couldn't believe.
Tell me you at least closed the door.
Oh, I closed the door.
Okay,
the door was closed, and this poor sap has no clue I was in his car. And by the way, no alarms went off, nothing. But I
think that there's some things we can incur by this.
Mm-hmm. What can you concur?
Number one, you're really dumb. I mean, I gotta give you credit where credit's due. How did you not? I'm just out of curiosity, right? Out of sheer curiosity, how could you not tell from the radio was different from the outside? That thing glows different colors.
It only glows different colors when you have the car on.
So you mean to tell me you can tell the difference between whatever gray, crappy color your normal car is compared to the sleek black that your radio is from the outside?
Joe, when I got out of class, it was like 9 o'clock at night. It was like pitch dark outside. I couldn't see. You can barely see inside the car.
Now, you heard him, folks. He has a license and he can barely see. What do you think about that?
You couldn't see inside the car. And my car was
he just said it, ladies and gentlemen. He couldn't see inside the car. That means he got behind the wheel, inside the car, not being able to see. John, what do you have to say to yourself?
Joe, I couldn't see the inside of the car from the outside because it was like 9 o'clock at night. Okay? Uh-huh. It was pitch dark outside. And here's the kicker. My car was like 6 cars down. So that happened.
Does it ever make you wonder, John, whether or not someone has ever been in your car?
Mm-hmm. Oh, totally. Because I realize now, this poor guy will never know that he had some random stranger inside his car.
So, John, what I would do if I were you now is I would get like a little cookie, right? And I would put a sticky note on it saying to the person who accidentally opens my car.
Yeah.
I understand.
I mean, I just wanted to get out of there. As I slowly came to the realization that I was not inside my own car, I just bolted out of there because you just don't want to start in that situation. That is just not a good situation to be in.
Oh, I don't know, John. I would have laughed at you if you got caught.
Oh, if I got caught, I wonder what would have happened. I mean, what
would have happened is you would have gone to jail and had to call my dad to bail you out.
Oh, but your dad would totally do it.
Oh, I'm sure he would.
Oh man, that's yeah. So that happened, and I don't know how. I mean, let's just hope it doesn't happen again. But the fact that I got in, door shut, everything, I couldn't believe it, and I came to the realization I was inside somebody else's car.
Why don't you put like a bumper sticker or something on your car?
You know, you don't see too many of my car around, so I just didn't think I ever knew.
I mean, John, you're in Staten Island, in College of Staten Island. You're on Staten Island itself, right? There's bound to be you're in the middle of New York City for better or for worse, right? There's bound to be someone with your same exact, make and model with the first three, right, letters of your license plate, right? I'm just saying, man. If I were you, after that, knowing that you guys go to the same college, I'd just slap a bumper sticker on there.
And what should the bumper sticker say on it? Subscribe to the J&J podcast on iTunes.
I was going to say I failed my regents twice, but hey.
It was more than twice, but okay.
How many times did you fail your regents, John?
No, I don't know. This is countless times.
How many times did I fail my regents? Oh yeah, 0.
Joe, what could I say? Oh man. No, Joe, I think you told me that you also had a story that you did not tell me during the break that you wanted to talk about.
Did I?
Yeah, you called me up and I said, "Oh, I also have a story."
Oh, wow, this is embarrassing. See, ladies and gentlemen, this is why you shouldn't take 7 classes in one semester. You won't remember a thing.
My school won't even let you take 7 classes in one semester.
You know, John, I'll have to get back to you on that for the next show because I just don't remember what it was.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Sorry, ladies and gentlemen.
No worries. But, Joe, how is everything? How's life? I mean, what's going on? Talk to me.
Life is good. There's not much going on. Like, I'm trucking through classes.
Oh.
It's been really stressful lately.
Mm-hmm.
With so many classes.
By the way, you started to do something that I would never do. You took up one of my recommendations, and you started using Plex.
Oh, yeah. I did start using Plex. It's really good. It works really well. My only complaint about it is that my internet doesn't actually connect well enough to do the original quality pictures, so I have to tone it down a little bit.
Right. I mean, I keep everything on there complete high definition quality, so that's why.
Yeah. I introduced my brother to Marvel for the first time. We watched his first 2 Marvel movies this weekend.
Oh, which ones?
Captain America, Winter Soldier, and Ant-Man.
Oh, well, I'm glad I can somewhat be a part of this. Somehow yeah. I was involved. And I saw you were watching Jurassic World and American Sniper and, all of the...
Yeah, I can't really... I had to shut off both Jurassic World and American Sniper midway through.
Why?
Jurassic World used the Lord's name in vain, and American Sniper had a woman in bikini, and it was clear what her and the man were about to do, and John, the Bible says if you look at a woman with lust in your eyes, you've already committed adultery. No women in bikinis for me, and no use of the Lord's name in vain.
Jesus, Joe, I think
Hey.
Joe, this needs to stop. Okay.
I'll terminate this podcast right now. Don't test me.
I can find another Jay, okay?
Really? Like who? Name one other Jay that'll sit with you and do this for an hour a week.
For free. Oh God. Okay. All right. Hey, look, that's your stance, and that's what you have to do to, for your conscience. That's what I mean. I think it's a little silly, but hey, look, that's what you want to do. That's you can do that. But I'm glad I can somewhat be a part of your brother's first Marvel experience with the first 2 Marvel movies, and I'm glad you're enjoying Plex. I mean, honestly, it's a great platform. It's but we're not sponsored by Plex. But
let's throw that out there. We're not sponsored by anybody.
I know. If you want to sponsor us, sure, send me an email, podcast@jmadigan.com. We'll be more than happy to take you up. We'll literally take any offer. just to make some kind of money, please, hire us. But oh man, a friend of ours, speaking about endorsements, we don't have any, but I found a TV recently that I fell in love with. Joe, a mutual friend of ours, has this beautiful TV. It's $3,000. It's the LG OLED, and it's the most beautiful TV I've ever had. And he texted me last night letting me know that they have a few open box versions for only $1,400. And Joe, I'm not going to lie, I've considered it.
Really? Is it that good?
Joe, it's the most beautiful picture I've ever seen before in my life.
Who is this mutual friend? Did we consider having them on the show?
Rolando.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Somehow I'm not surprised about that. He's always been big into TVs.
Yeah, I mean, he works a lot with TVs, and he bought this $3,000 TV, and it's just the most beautiful picture I've ever seen before.
See, like, I wish I could say that I get that excited over TVs, but honestly, John, I still like black and white movies. I still have a VCR, and I still watch black and white VCR tapes.
Joe, I have a VCR too. We bought a VCR. When I say we, my family, we bought one last year, so then we can convert all the old VHS tapes to DVD or to digital.
Yeah.
But and believe it or not, you can still find them on Amazon. They're usually with they're usually like combos with like DVDs, but it's a great system to if you want to convert your old VHS tape to DVD. It's really not too hard, and I've had a lot of fun doing it. It works great. It's perfect. Joe.
Yeah, I'm listening. I'm listening.
Okay, cool. But
do you like any VHS movies? Or do you just have it for your family's sake because they like VHS movies?
It's not VHS movies we have. It's like home videos. We used to record a lot on like those VHS cameras, like all the home movies.
Okay.
So we can see those stuff on.
See, me and my grandma to this day will still sit down and watch some black and white movies.
Oh, that's nice. It's nice to have that connection with your grandmother. I'm actually at my grandparents' house right now. I'm here with them.
Grandma and grandpas.
Hey, woo, woo.
We love you. We would not be here without you.
Oh, man. But, Joe, are you going to see the new Deadpool movie coming out?
John, that's a really good question. And right now, I'm pretty much on the fence about it for several reasons. Now, I don't really have a problem with violence. That's just me personally. Some people do, and that's okay, right? But I just read the Bible, and there's enough violence in there for me to say I can watch a violent movie and not get upset about it. Right, but I have a problem with certain words, and I have a problem with nudity, right, and sexuality. And I got really, really antsy when I read that Deadpool was almost rated NC-17 because of graphic nudity and sexuality.
Right.
And so, and just a little background on me, so the fans know. I used to watch pornography. I used to be a porn addict, and then the Lord saved me, and now I am not. It'll be 8 years on Easter that I've been clean, and so I really don't want to compromise that.
Should we give you like one of those challenge coins that they give to like alcoholics and drug addicts? But yeah, I've heard it's rated R, and I don't know if any other Marvel movie has been rated R. Do you know offhand?
No, none that I can think of.
Yeah, so it's the first Marvel movie rated R, to my knowledge. And the language I've heard is like, I heard it's very funny. I heard they made this movie insanely funny. It's the anti-superhero movie.
Right. And to be fair, right,
that's the way he was in the comics.
Right, yeah, he's in the comic, he's raunchy, right? And I really enjoy Deadpool. I really like the idea of Deadpool. But as of right now, I can't honestly say that I will see the movie. Even though I really want to. It just I couldn't stand before the Lord. And please hear me out. If you're a Christian and you go see Deadpool, I am in no way condemning you. I'm saying me personally, I can't go see it.
I'm hoping to go see it before next week's podcast so I can talk about it. But it looks really funny to me, and I'm excited to go see it if I can. And it looks really, really funny. And I know this movie's been in production for a long time. Who's going to play him? Who's going to write it? Who's going to direct it? Like, I remember hearing about a Deadpool movie like 6-7 years ago, and I heard it
was in production for 10 years.
Yeah, that's crazy. I don't know how many movies can really say that. So I hope 10 years really paid off.
Hey,
Um,
and like, do you follow the comic books, John?
Not really. No, I
Your
don't.
brother does, though, right?
No, no, not really.
I don't know. I don't know if you've ever noticed. If you go to my dad's house, right, in the basement, in the bathroom,
Oh,
right,
he's got a lot of comic
he has
books.
he has all the Deadpool comic books back there,
Yeah,
and
sure.
I've read a few here and there, and like I said, like they seem to keep it pretty close to the character. The backstory seems the same. He's raunchy, he's funny, right? It's just that idea of having so much sexuality and nudity, and of course, if it uses the Lord's name in vain, it's just disqualified right off the bat. So
Right.
I'll tell you what, John. I'll make you a deal. Um, you go see it, and you tell me on a scale of 1 to 10. Listen for the Lord's name in vain, and like look for overly sexualized things. And you come back to me and the fans next week, and you tell us what you think, right? And based off your opinion, I'll consider seeing it or not.
Yeah, I'll tell you the God's honest truth. If I feel like there's something in there that you're not gonna like, I'm not gonna hide that from you for sure. Yeah. I mean, if I can, I'll let you know. I mean, but I actually just got the Deadpool video game. It was an Amazon Gold Box deal yesterday, or I'm sorry, 2 days ago for $20 for
How
the
you
Xbox.
liking it?
I haven't played it yet. I'm at my grandparents' house. Like I said, I've been
All right.
staying over here the past few days, and it's sitting at my house right now, so I'll get to play it tomorrow. But Ryan Reynolds does the voice acting for the video game as well, so that's a huge plus. And I heard the video game is just as raunchy as the movie. So when I saw an Amazon Gold Box deal for $20, I was like, yeah, I'll get it. That sounds cool.
It's for the Xbox One or the 360?
Xbox One.
Okay, because they made a Deadpool game for the 360 a few years back.
Oh well, yeah, no, this is the new one that kind of like ties in with the movie.
Oh, okay. That sounds like it should be interesting. Is it 2-player?
I don't know. I haven't played it yet. It's at my house, but I just kind of heard Deadpool video game $20 one day only. I'm like, okay, yeah, I'll buy it. So I have the Amazon Prime, so I got there in 2 days, and it's currently sitting at my house, and I can't wait to play it.
Yeah.
It looks good. Looks really funny. But parents, I was reading the comments, and parents are like, well, I let my son play this game, but with the speakers off on mute, and
I mean, listen, look, X-Men, right, and like Avengers, right? They're meant for kids, right?
right.
Deadpool was never meant for. I've read some of the comic books, right? Deadpool was never meant for kids.
I kind of feel like this is the problem with all Marvel and DC movies is that everything is advertised towards kids. I mean, like there's a toy of every superhero, and there's DVDs, and they have. I'm sure they have like scaled back like cartoons that were on like the WB network of Deadpool, or the other things or that stuff that feature him, and you kind of feel like everything is kind of pushed towards kids. But then when the real movie comes out, the Deadpool movie, like, sorry kids, you can't see this. This is too much. And I kind of feel like that screws kids up. They don't understand. Like, why give us all of this? And then when the big movie comes out, you won't let us watch. I mean, would you agree with that?
Right. And like I agree with it, and it's the same thing with my brother, right? And some of the Marvel movies, right? Like he can't watch Iron Man. Right? Why can't he watch Iron Man? Because in Iron Man 1, Tony Stark has sex with that random chick. In Iron Man 2, right, there are those dancers. And in Iron Man 3, you have those Santa Claus, like, women in bikinis, right? And so it's like he sees all of these, like, video games and, like, toys geared for Iron Man, right? And then I sit down with him and we're scrolling through Plex and all of the Marvel movies are there. And I'm like, I'm sorry, William, like you can't watch Iron Man 1, 2, or 3. And my mom's like, Joseph, if you show him Iron Man 1, 2, or 3, I'll kill you. Exactly. I was like, well, what about Captain America? And she was like, is there nudity? Is there sexuality? I'm like, I don't think so. Like, I can't promise anything, but I really don't think so. And we watched it and we watched Ant-Man and it was all good.
Yeah. Me and you actually went to go see Ant-Man when I took a trip up to Rochester. We went up and we went to that cool theater that had the really nice seats on it.
Yeah, what are you doing February 26th through March 2nd?
What is that, like next week?
Yeah, it's like I'm off. I'm off for a whole week.
Oh, dang. Are you going to come down and visit me?
I can't come down and visit you because I have 3 preaching gigs.
preaching gigs. Now, are you getting paid for any of these preaching gigs, Joe?
No, I'm getting. Two of them are at churches and one of them is in class, but I get graded for all three.
So it's not really a vacation, is it?
I mean, it's a vacation in the sense that I don't have classes for a week. So essentially, I get up and I preach all together. All 3 times, it takes me about an hour and a half altogether, right? So each sermon's about a half hour, give or take, right? And then I'm off for the rest of the week, and it's just February break, you know. Are you free that weekend, like that week to weekend?
No, I don't. I have work and I have school. We don't get that. I don't know when my break is, to be honest. I get some
You
sort
could have come up that we could have a good time. We could have like a really good time with that.
Well, that was always our problem, is that our breaks were always scheduled differently. I think my break is sometime in April. Do you get a break in April by any chance?
I don't think
break.
so.
Spring break.
I think this is. We might get a spring break. I'm not sure. I got to check it out.
Yeah, maybe we can do something for spring break, but definitely the summer. I want to do something where, like, I'll travel up to Rochester, we hang out there for like a week, and then me and you both travel down to Staten Island, and we can hang out for like a week, and then you travel back up to Rochester. You know,
dude, we got to have a Monopoly episode.
I would kill for a Monopoly episode. It would be like 2 hours long. We'd have to curse out. We'd have to bleep out every other word because we'd be cursing. And
I wouldn't be cursing.
I would be. And
ladies and gentlemen, I wish that we had the podcast back then. But me and John, we played Monopoly once, and I'll tell you, man, that thing got intense. Right? You can say whatever you want, but I'm telling you, at the end of that, right, it's a good thing we're friends. Otherwise, we would have killed each other.
You probably thought I was so lame for suggesting we play Monopoly.
I was at first. I was like, I don't know, John. we have Call of Duty in front of us, right? Like you want to trade this for this, and I was like, all right, we'll play one game. And you know what? I've got to say, I downloaded it on my phone, right? I play Monopoly now. Whenever I get some spare time, it was worth it, you know.
It gets really competitive, like more competitive than any other game I've played. And that's ridiculous.
Yeah, I think what it has to do with the fact is that you can really screw someone over in Monopoly. Like in Call of Duty, you die, you just die. You respawn in 5 seconds. In Monopoly, you lose that property and it's over.
Joe, do you have a favorite, God, what's the word I'm thinking about? You know, when you get like 3 in a row, a Monopoly. Oh, duh.
Yeah, property.
You have a favorite? No, property is the individual, but when you get like all the same of the color,
you get a Monopoly. You can build houses and stuff.
Right. So, do you have a favorite Monopoly to get that you kind of feel like is your winner?
Yeah, I'm not going to tell you what it is, so you can take it from me when we play.
No. Like, what's your strategy? What do you?
So you know that first strip?
Mm-hmm.
Right off the bat, I like to buy all the properties on that strip.
I know what you mean. Because
because all the other properties, yes, they're higher value, right? But the houses and the hotels are so cheap, right, to build, and you get your money back so quickly that I just feel it's like a game changer. Like I get those, and the game's done.
Now, Joe, this is probably going to get edited out, but one. I'm just saying. Editing
that out. Stop.
I was playing Monopoly today, and I just realized that, and that's probably going to get edited out.
That's definitely getting edited out, John. You cannot say stuff like
that. But, yeah, so I kind of feel like get that light blue property and the railroads. If you get the railroads, then, like, you're set too.
It's done.
Yeah, because you get all 4 railroads. That's $200 in your pocket. And it's the Monopoly is just such I can't believe we're 20 years old and we're talking about how Monopoly is like one of the best games we play. I mean, does that mean we're getting old?
Yeah, it probably does. Like, it means we're getting old, John. We just are, right? But someday I look forward to having my wife and kids play your wife and kids in Monopoly, and we just mop the floor with you.
Well, Joe, that would involve someone actually marrying you. I mean, are we positive that's actually going to happen?
Hey, John, all I know is this, okay? If someone marries you, she's got to be dumb, which means she's going to be bad at Monopoly.
There you go. But, yeah. So, Joe, is there anything special you want to talk about? Is there anything on your mind that you want to talk about?
Actually, there is. I saw a really cool article. To the Christian listeners, you might be more familiar with this person than non-Christian listeners. But no matter what religion you are, I encourage you to look him up. He's really cool. His name's Sid Roth. And he hosts a show, and he's into like miracles. And I heard a really cool story of missiles that were shot at Israel, but God turned them back. That God shorted out the circuiting or whatever it is, the programming, and the missiles actually missed their target. Because he was for Israel, and a Muslim actually said, or a terrorist actually said, we try to shoot rockets at them, but their God turns it back. And I heard that. I was very impressed with that.
So I'm confused. What happened?
So, are you familiar with the conflict in the Middle East?
I mean, I know they're bad.
They're bad. Well done. Well, congratulations. How'd you ever pass high school? Long story short, Abraham, my boy Abraham, right? He had two sons when he should have only had one son, and ever since then, these two sons, their families have turned into two major religions, and they're beating each other up. They've been fighting, and so someone shot a missile at someone else, and God was obviously for this other nation that was getting shot at, and God shorted out the missile and made it disappear or made it go off course.
Okay. Well, all right.
That's the premise of it. If you want a better description of actually what's going on, read Genesis 12 through 42.
Okay. I hope our listeners are enjoying that. I wonder how many people actually know what you're talking about, Joe.
I feel like very few are. It's fine.
No. Have you spread the word for the podcast, like around your school and like to your family and everything? Like, have you actually sent people links?
Yeah, I have. I'm not actually sure how to send my dad a link because he has an Android. So after the podcast, but he wants to know. He wants to watch. My mom's a little reluctant. Like, she hears the way we talk to each other on the phone. And she's kind of like, I don't know if I want to sit through 45 minutes of you and John going back and forth. I spread the word here and there.
Yeah, I'll never forget. I love your mom. I love your stepdad. I love your regular dad. I love your brother. I love your whole family, and I love Deary as well.
Don't forget my sisters
and your sisters. I love your whole family. Everyone in your family who I've met has always been very nice to me, and has accepted me with open arms. It's they've always been really cool to me. And I'll never forget. It was one of my last days up in Rochester, and your mom was like, John, when I first heard you were coming up to Rochester, honest to God, I was dreading your visit. She's like, but now she said, I quote, I thought you were another one of my sons. I thought. And just to let you guys know, Joseph's mother only has one son.
No, she has two. Me and my brother.
Oh, right. Duh. Okay, that was stupid of me. Yes, okay, but she probably didn't mean your brother. But she said I was really nice, and I'm sure she was only kidding when she said about you.
She'll never admit it, but I'm her favorite.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel the same way with that about certain people in my family. I think I think there are some people who cough, my nana, cough.
I was gonna do it if you didn't, John.
I'm actually.
Your brother isn't listening because it's so true.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna cut that out. I feel bad saying that. By the way, be on the lookout for people who are on Tinder. I've never actually downloaded Tinder or Grindr. I forget which one is the straight one, but an estimated 750,000 Tinder users have public lice. Just to let you guys know, millions of people worldwide are thought to carry the private part pest. The news came as lovers enjoyed a romantic time between the sheets this Valentine's Day. The University of Sydney, that's in Australia, scientists made the startling discovery after conducting new research. Dr. Cameron Redwood. Perhaps their absence from the sexual health spotlight is due to the lack of serious health implications associated with infestation. Oh my god, I can't believe this is a real article. Joe,
I don't know what Tinder is. Enlighten me, John.
Okay, so I've never created an account, but from what I hear, Tinder or Grindr. So there's one for like straight people and there's one for gay people. I don't know which one this is, but it's like you create a profile and then you can like swipe left if you like the person and swipe right if you don't like the person, or the other way around. And then that person, when they're on Tinder, they'll swipe left if they like you, swipe right if they like you. And then if you happen to swipe left on somebody who you said that you liked, they'll get notified. And then you can like go on a date or just have sex. That's my understanding to it.
Well, and see, like, John, so that's the problem with our society, right? We like to minimize the effect that sexuality has, right? And the Bible makes it really clear, right? Don't have sex outside of marriage, right? And the reason that the Bible says that is simply because, right? Like, it is not really simply. It's actually really complicated. I was having a conversation about this with somebody actually fairly recently. Is that it's not just a physical thing; it's an emotional thing, it's a spiritual thing, right? And you become bonded with a person, and then when that pairing happens, because our society doesn't think sexuality is anything more than just a physical pleasure, that breaks apart, and that hurts the soul. Right. And then you wonder, right? And sex is extremely biological, right? And then you wonder why people are catching so many diseases, whether they're STDs or in this case, lice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So from what I understand is that this website was these two apps were both made for like casual dating, but then everybody kind of took it as, okay, if you're really horny and you want to have sex, then you'll sign up for this app and just have random sex with people, and that's kind of what happens. So it's a good thing to let the people know that there's a very good chance if you meet somebody off of it was Tinder that they might have lice, and so that's not good. So I wouldn't recommend. I'd recommend staying off of there. Joe, if you were single, would you ever sign up for an app like that?
If I was single, would I ever join up for an app like that? No. I try to, in my heart of hearts, I believe God is sovereign, so I try not to take things into my own hands. Right, I try to, and that's not judgment on anybody who does. I know tons of great people who have met on like eHarmony or like Christian Mingle, and they meet and they get married and they're happy, right? But just me personally, I don't think I could do it. I want to get to know a person via the person. I like to believe that there are divine appointments.
I know what I want to talk about. Joe, have you heard about a man named Martin Shkreli?
You know, it sounds vaguely familiar, very vague though. I don't know.
Okay, so Martin Shkreli might be one of the worst human beings on earth. I wish we allowed cursing. One of the things Joe and I make sure we don't do, and when I say me and Joe, I mean me, is make sure not to curse, because Joe has people listening to this podcast that would not be happy if we were cursing. And this guy is just one of the most horrible people on earth. He was born in 1983, and he bought a firm called Retrofin, which has to do with, I believe that has to do with cancer pills. Yeah. I'm sorry, not cancer. My bad. Not cancer. It's AIDS. My bad.
Yeah, he put the price to like $750 a pill or something like that.
Yes, the average price of the pill was $13.50, and then this guy bought the company, and then he increased it to $750 per pill overnight. When I first heard about this story, I was mind blown. I couldn't believe that we really had someone that evil in this world who would do that. I don't know how someone can morally do that, but this blew my friggin' mind.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know what, John? The Bible actually talks about this, right? The Bible says that a person can become so evil and so wicked that their conscience gets seared, so they don't think anything is wrong anymore. They can essentially do whatever they want and not feel guilty about it.
Right. And so, I don't know if the price reversed back yet, but the fact that this happened, and there was another company, like kind of like a generic company, and generics are usually cheaper. At least for a short amount of time, they made their pills like $1 or free or something like that to people who had a prescription and needed it. Because this guy was just taking advantage of, other people were suffering because they couldn't get their medicine. Because who can afford that?
Right.
I mean, this guy is awful. And then there's a rap group, very prominent in Staten Island, called the Wu-Tang Clan. Joe, I don't know, have you ever heard of the Wu-Tang Clan?
Once again, I've heard of it. I probably haven't heard of any of their stuff, but I probably heard of them.
So they're a very famous rap group who actually started in Staten Island, New York. They originated in Staten Island, and they actually came up with the term Shaolin. You ever heard of that? So they call it Staten Island Shaolin. That comes from the Wu-Tang Clan. So shout out to the Wu-Tang Clan. And the Wu-Tang Clan, for about a year now, they've been talking about they're releasing this album. They're releasing an album that only had one copy made. It would not be available digital. There would be one physical copy that had the songs, and that would be it. And whoever was the highest bidder would get the album. Well, Martin Shkreli comes out and he bids $10 million and gets the CD. Now, the Wu-Tang Clan, knowing who this guy was, did not want to give it to him by any means necessary. Because obviously he's a bad man. But, I mean, he did win it fair and square, technically, so they had to oblige. And he's threatening now to just break the CD in half. He said he hasn't even listened to it yet. He has the album that he spent $10 million on, and he hasn't even listened to it yet.
Well, I mean, John, he has that right? He has the right to break the CD if he wants.
Right.
I think you're buying into you're buying into something that our society does a lot, and it's when they don't like something that a person does, like a really bad thing, like upping the AIDS medicine, right? Then everything that person does is automatically wrong. Like, he bought it fair and square. They shouldn't have overpriced it so much, like the CD, right? Like, that's a pretty fair thing. I can't condemn him for that, right? But and this is for you and for our listeners, and hopefully, what's the guy's name?
Martin Shkreli. Well, actually,
Martin Shkreli. And hopefully he's listening too. And the Bible says that if a person does wickedness, they don't escape it, right? They might seem like they escape it, like he's a multimillionaire, right? And he might seem like he might escape it, but God's justice is going to get up to him unless he repents, right? And then if he repents, the situation will be restored anyway. You know what I mean? But make no mistake, John, don't get all upset, and viewers, don't get all upset. God is in control. He promises to be in control over this. And if the punishment isn't in this life, it'll certainly be in the next.
Now, just to let you know, the Wu-Tang Clan did not set their album price at $10 million. It was a public bidding, and then Martin Shkreli bid $10 million, and nobody was able to outbid him, And, now there's a whole feud between him and this rapper who's inside Wu-Tang Clan named Ghostface Killah, and they're going head-to-head now. And then Martin Shkreli sent out a public letter out to Kanye West on Twitter asking that he buys his new album, The Life of Pablo, instead of it being released out to everybody, that he only makes one copy available just for him, which I think is ridiculous, but Kanye is not doing it, and good for Kanye.
I feel like this guy has some problems. He has some superiority issues.
But yeah, now, so this guy is just a horrible person. I just want to get the word out about him. There's a video of him inside court being snarky and just laughing, and
Can we get sued for this?
I'm sorry?
Can we get sued for this?
Sued for what?
For calling this guy out?
We're not calling him out. We're just saying he's.
I mean, he is, but
He is a horrible
Martin,
human.
if you're listening, I want you to know that it's not too late to repent. It's not too late to turn to Jesus. He still loves you, right? You can repent. You can turn back. You can sell that medication for the right price. You can give the Wu-Tang Clan their CD back. Like you don't have to do this. You don't have to be that guy. Right? And even if you don't repent, man, I just want you to know I love you. Jesus loves you.
I mean, honestly, dude, just honestly, God, just if you make the pills down, I'll have respect for you. But the fact that you would do that to those people for money, I mean, dude, there are much more important things in life than money. And the fact that you're stopping people from getting their medicine because you just want more money is a horrible thing. It's, God, ridiculous.
And it's not economically smart because no one's going to buy the medication anymore.
Well, they can. It's, but it's a very important medication. We're dealing with a really important, it's for AIDS. I mean, that's such an important medication. And the fact that people won't be able to get their medicine is horrible. Oh, man. But Joe, we're coming down to the end of our episode, unless there's something else you want to talk about.
Yeah, I think that there is, we were going to talk about it. I think it got lost somewhere. The guy, the stabbings on Staten Island.
Oh, right. Yeah, totally. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, I live in Staten Island. This was scary. And wow. Okay. So this guy, I don't even know his name. Michael Sykes or something. He was on Staten Island and he ran into the Ramada Inn, which was a hotel that was transformed into a homeless shelter, where I don't know if it was current girlfriend or ex-girlfriend, was living there with her 3 kids, a 2-year-old, a 1-year-old, and a 5-month-old. Now, he is the father of the 5-month-old kid. And he ran in there, and he decided to stab all 4 of them, the mother and the 3 kids.
Like, how are you going to do that? How are you going to stab a kid? How are you going to stab a woman? Like, it's one thing if some dude comes up to me and stabs me. All right, I'm a dude. I'm a guy, right? I'm right, an adult, right? I'm 200 and something pounds, right? Like, I get it. You stab me, it's one thing, right? Right? But you can't stab kids. You can't stab women. That's just dirty, right? And the Bible even talks about that, right? The Bible says all violence is wrong, right? But the particular violence is against the widow and the orphan, right? Like, don't do that.
Right. I mean,
and where was the security at this place?
I don't know. I mean, I think they said they had somebody at the front desk, but that was just it. I mean, Joe, it's a homeless shelter. It's not really much of a security. I mean, it's a homeless shelter.
Dude, someone walks in there with a knife. What are you gonna do? I'm gonna drop kick them.
Well, I think he may have had it in his pocket or something, but he just ran into that room. He stabbed the mother, the 2-year-old, the 1-year-old, and the 5-month-old. Now,
Did any of them? Did they die?
I'm really sad to say this. The woman, the wife or ex-wife or ex-girlfriend or something, she died. The 1-year-old died, and the 5-month-old died, which he was the father of. He was the father of the 5-month-old kid. Those are dead.
And did they catch him?
The 2-year-old is expected to live with life-threatening injuries. Now, as of yesterday, February 13th, they did catch him and arrest him. And it turns out he's just been riding the subway all this time. He was just going back and forth. They found him in Queens, actually. So he made it quite far just riding the subways. And what was kind of scary for me is that they, I don't know if he was or if they just thought he was. He was hiding on my college campus, though.
Wow.
And I was in class. I was in film class, and we were doing a film project outside. And all of a sudden, you see these helicopters flying all around. They're on the college, and they're looking. Email blast was sent out to all students, letting them know what he looks like and that he's possibly on the campus, and if they see him, do not approach him. And as I was driving out of the campus, for later in that day when I was done with school, about 5 or 6 police cars were driving in along with a SWAT truck. So maybe they saw something. I don't know, but it was totally scary. It was insane. I couldn't believe what was going on, and the fact they didn't find him for days. They just found him yesterday. And thank God, he actually pleaded not guilty in the court. I couldn't believe it.
That's nuts, man. That's nuts, right? That's
horrible.
I don't think I could ever watch a child or a woman get hurt, right? Like it's one thing, right? If 2 guys are fighting, I'll probably leave it alone, right? Maybe try to intervene. But like, if someone hits a kid or a woman around me, it's done.
Just done.
Stabbed
to death.
And some people would call me sexist for that, right? But I'm sorry, you don't hit women or children. Children can hit children, women can hit women, but anyone can hit a man, but a man should never hit a woman or a child.
Well, this is murder. I mean, this was just insane. I mean, yeah, I wish we had the death penalty in New York, because he truly deserves something like that. And
Jesus even can redeem him, right? Jesus even loves him.
Well, he needs life in prison or something. He's a horrible human being, and
I don't deny that there should be consequences, but like at the end of the day, the consequence for all of our sin is death, right? And Jesus says, "I took that death on the cross for him." And if he never repents, if he never turns to Jesus, right, then he'll pay his due.
Right. He's just an overall just a horrible person, and I'm glad we I hope we get him out. I'm glad he's in police custody, thank God. But hopefully he spends the rest of his life in prison, or death penalty, something. It's just a crazy situation, and justice for those three people. It's just horrible. I mean, and now this poor 2-year-old has to live with the fact that her father killed her mother, her sister, and I believe it was 2 sisters. I believe they were all girls, but you don't quote me on that. It just a horrible situation.
And that kid, that like 2 years old, is old enough to remember too. That might be the worst part of it.
It's and now she has to live with life-threatening injuries as well. I mean, it's
just a bad situation. It's just really bad.
It's just an overall, it's horrible. And I hate leaving the podcast on such a bad note like that. We
have to do our recommendations, don't we?
Yes, our recommendations. Dude, totally forgot about that. Joe, do you have anything you want to recommend for this week?
I do, but I have to be very specific about it.
Okay.
So listeners, please hear me, because this can go really sour really quickly if you just take what I say as a whole and don't take what I'm specifically saying. The whole Bible is good all the time. You should read it, right? But particularly Job chapters 39 through 42 are really good. Now, if you want to read the whole book of Job, be my guest. If you're looking for something encouraging, please don't read the beginning of Job. It's really a downer in the beginning. I mean, but the last 3 to 4 chapters, I mean, that was just some really good Bible right there. I've read the Bible before, but this weekend I had an assignment on Job, so I was rereading those last couple of chapters, and they were just good.
Okay, all right. I am going to recommend. See, now with Plex, I've had the opportunity to really go back and start watching TV shows and movies that I really like. I've started to go nuts, like downloading stuff on the internet. And one of the things I started to watch from back in the day was Kablam on Nickelodeon. Joe, do you remember Kablam at all?
Vaguely. I wasn't the biggest fan of Kablam, but yeah, I know what you're referencing.
There's I have a few episodes. I think I have like 20 episodes or something on Plex that you can watch on there. So if you go to the creator, markmerrick.org, that's the creator's website. He had like 20 episodes on there for free download. I highly recommend you go back there, relive those memories, or find new ones. And if you've never seen the show before, it's a great show. Honestly, watch it. It's great.
Yeah, John, I don't know if you heard, they brought back Fairly Odd Parents.
I did hear that, and I heard it's horrible. I haven't watched it yet. I saw the theme song. Somebody uploaded the new intro to YouTube, but I heard it's horrible with the new kid and everything. It's
I don't know. I've never seen it. Like, if you upload it to Plex, though, I'll watch it.
If you want me to, I'll download the episode and I can put it on there. But yeah, they added a new kid, and now Timmy has to share his fairies. And they say, I'm sorry,
is it like a sister or something?
I don't know. I've never seen it. It's a girl. I don't think it's a sister though. I think it's just another girl. I believe I read there was a shortage on fairies, so now Timmy needs to share his fairies, and that's kind of the storyline going forward. All right, guys, thank you so much for listening to the J&J podcast. It's we do this every week for you guys. As long as you guys keep listening, we're going to keep doing it. If you have any questions, comments, anything, please be sure to send it to podcasts@jmadigan.com. We read those daily. Thank you guys so much for listening to the 5th episode of the J&J podcast.
And please send your prayer requests. We love you guys. We would not be a podcast without you.
All right, guys, we'll see you next week. Thank you for listening.
This is Jay. This is Joe.
And this is John.
And this is the J&J podcast.
And we'll see you next week. Thanks for listening.